music saved my life. Now, man, I'm sure a lot of us out there can relate to the story that I'm about to tell. And the reality is there are a lot of people that watch my channel, and man, as far as I'm concerned, you're all rock stars. And, but every now and then, a rock star will reach out to me and, they watch the channel, and I'm blown away by that. I'm not going to name any names right now, but hoping this guy will want to come on the channel one day. But man, this is something that whether you're a known rock star or whether you're the local bar star in your area, man, I think this is something that we can all relate to. Music has, in a sense, saved our lives. Now, that's not to say that taking on a career in music is incredibly challenging, and it's been very tough, and it's led to a lot of heartbreak and loss and all of those things. But man, I think we can all relate to this in the fact that I know for me personally, I was a kid with tons of energy and probably what they call on the spectrum, which I don't even know what that is, but I hear that phrase a lot. And I have a lot of friends, that are musicians, and knowing our experience is very similar, man. I remember being in class and I couldn't sit still, and I was playing drums with pencils on my desk, and, the teacher would look at me, what is wrong with you? And I would get called out by teachers all the time and stuff. And I just seemed to have all this energy, which had no place to direct itself. Now, I knew that I was into music at an early age. I can remember being in first grade at Catholic school, and there was a nun that was teaching our class. And I remember singing the line, clouds in my coffee, from the Carly Simon song, You're So Vain. And that was a huge hit song at the time. And man, it was like one of those lines in the song, clouds in my coffee, which I didn't even really know what that meant. Probably didn't really understand what the song meant at the time. But there I was in class, singing that song, and the teacher was like, the nun was like, you know this song? And I'm like, yeah, I really like that song. And they're like, wow. And I'm sure they, they obviously knew the song and were probably a fan of it. It was a big song at the time. I can remember, as time went on in class, I just had all this energy and stuff that I couldn't, I didn't have anywhere to direct. And, I was into sports as a kid. I wanted to play sports. That was probably my first choice. But man, let's be real. That is something few will have enough talent to make it in that field. You could just practice and practice and practice, but that doesn't mean you're going to have the natural ability to make it in sports. So, eventually, man, my love of music and hearing Scotty Moore playing on those early Elvis records, that guided me to the guitar. And man, that was the beginning of my journey, and hearing the early Elvis stuff and that guitar in the background, and knowing that there were going to be huge crowds, hearing the screams of the crowds, watching an old clip of Elvis on the TV, and seeing that and going, that's it, that's that thing, that's that thing. And man, that gave me something to focus on, that gave me something to be, that gave me an identity, that gave me a purpose. Once I discovered the guitar, and once I picked the guitar up, man, sports became a very distant second. And so much so that, if it was anything that I thought, man, I might get injured and not be able to play, was done with it. I was absolutely done with it. And music gave me my identity. Music, defined who I was. Once I picked up the guitar and once I was able to play a song and take the guitar to school and play before class and sing a song, that became my identity. That became my purpose. It gave me something to do. Being a Gen Xer, a lot of us were latchkey kids per se, and we didn't always have adult supervision. So having that guitar there, this is before video games, were readily available in your home. So the guitar was my video game. The guitar was my thing that I could focus on. And I can remember getting a Rockman, I think it was called a Soloist. It was a little headset thing, or maybe it was just called the Rockman. But I remember having that and putting those headphones on. And all of a sudden I could hear my guitar in stereo, and I could flick the switch from a clean sound to a lead sound. And it was just an amazing revelation. I've loved the sound of stereo guitar ever since that moment. I can remember practicing for hours with that giant, Rockman headset amplifier, and just being amazed at the tone and sitting on the edge of the bed and playing for hours. And then, early on, I think, I was maybe in 11th grade or something, getting a Tascam 244 Porta Studio. First, I borrowed one, and I was writing songs right out of the gate. I had a bass in my house, and I remember I'd gone up to New York at one time with my family, and I had bought I think it was a Boss Dr. Rhythm. It was a little cheap little drum machine that just, had really cheap, cheesy sounds. But I could take that Boss Dr. Rhythm and my bass that I had, and it played, and my electric guitar, and all of a sudden, I was able to make my own demos, and I learned so much doing that, and it helped my playing to that drum machine, and it helped, it helped because then I got a little rack unit. And it was a Ibanez, I think it was an SDE 3000 or 300. And it was a delay unit, but you could learn how to set the delay and the modulation so that you could achieve chorus sounds, flange sounds, all these things. So I was learning about effects. I was learning production in a primitive way. I was learning how to layer guitar parts. I was learning how to bounce tracks. Back then, you had a 4-track, and once you had 3 tracks down, it's either, okay, we've got one last track for the lead vocal, guitar, bass, and drum machine, or we bounce all of these tracks down to 1, and then we can start adding some more parts. So I was learning how to manage tracks. I was learning how to produce, and it was channeling my energy. And you fall in love with a girl, and maybe that's another way you could channel that energy into the production of music, into the writing of songs. And those skills carried me till today. Essentially, I'm doing a similar thing now with YouTube. I'm, occasionally playing at the beginning of my videos. I'm producing content. I'm, editing content. And it's the same thing, same skills that I learned as a little kid playing guitar, learning how to self-edit what you play, then learning how to record it, learning how to make it good, doubling guitar parts, learning how to layer different sounds, all of it, learning what didn't sound good. It didn't sound good when I plugged my distortion box straight into the 4-track and tried to get some overdriven tones. So then I'd learn, hey, throw my mic in front of my amp and get guitar sounds that way. So it was all a huge part of a learning and channeling all that energy, that on the spectrum energy that I had a purpose from that day forward. And I know a lot of you can relate, man. If this is hitting home base for you, please leave a comment, because man, you guys inspire me so much when I hear your story. All the rock stars, you guys are all rock stars out there. And man, look, I'll be honest, taking on a career in music has been a struggle. It has been very tough. Would I do it all again today? Yes, I probably would, because I'm a bit of a knucklehead. But the reality is, man, it's had plenty of ups and downs. In talking to some of the musicians I talked to in my interviews, I know we've all kind of fallen in and out of love with music over our careers, but it's that one girlfriend that you just can't help but go back to, even if she breaks your heart over and over again. Music is that girlfriend you can't let go, and when she calls you and says, "Hey, I want you to come over," you just can't help but come over, man. And that's been the pull of music for me throughout my life. Yes, it's caused a lot of tough times, and it's caused, heartbreak, in relationships and family and all of those things. And I know it's probably been tough for my family to see when I'm going through a tough period, or when I lose a big gig, or something happens. I know they don't really understand, how things work. Nobody can really understand what you've been through, except for another musician. And that is why this community that I'm building here on YouTube is so important, man, because it's important that our voice is heard. It's important that our story is told. And like I said, man, reading you guys' comments on this channel is a huge inspiration to me. And I know it's the fellowship of brotherhood and sisterhood that we all share as musicians. And ultimately, playing music has been my therapy and my guiding light through tough times. When times are hard, when I need healing, picking up the guitar is the one thing that I can always go to. I can always learn something new when playing music. I can always learn something new picking up the guitar and just playing, man. Sometimes not even thinking about it, man. Just letting your fingers do the talking, letting your soul pour out. It doesn't matter what emotion you're feeling. You can definitely use your guitar to get them out. And that is a powerful, powerful thing. Just think about this. Your average, everyday Joe working a 9 to 5, he doesn't have that outlet that we have. He might have to drown his sorrows in beer or alcohol or who knows what, or just go to bed angry, or go to bed with heartbreak, and go to bed, and it just has to gradually work itself out of his body. But we have this power of music, this love of music that allows us to exorcise those demons, if you will, and to clear our hearts and minds so that we can continue on our journey playing music. It's a powerful thing, man. It is a powerful thing, and I'm thankful every day that I've been on this journey.